Welcome to Apex Alchemy if it's your first time here. If not, welcome back. By viewer request, I've been asked about this sharpening system probably a dozen times, and it was the first fixed angle system that I have. And I guess today, I just want to go over, is it worth it? We'll get it out of the box and we'll show it to you, and you can make up your own mind at the end. For me, in short, it's been a pretty decent little system, but it does have its downfalls. And there's an upgraded system available, and I'll tell you all about that too. So without further ado, first of all, when you open up the case, it's going to look like this. And I can't remember, I think there was a little plastic piece that you could keep all this stuff in, but it was more annoying than it was worth keeping around, so I didn't keep it. But everything else I think is still in here. This pocket I don't really find very useful to keep stuff. I've got some additional stones, a little added piece that I bought off of Etsy. We'll get into that in a second. Just remind me so I don't forget. But I have this little thing here that will keep all your stuff in space. This is the strop and the ceramic rod for serrations. And this is the 220, 320, and 400 diamond bit stone. I'm sorry, not diamond bit stone, diamond stones. This is the 600, 800, and that's ceramic, and it probably needs to be cleaned up. Let's stick it together. Oh well, in here, in the base, it's like this. So you got your work base, you got your fixed angle system, and you got your clamp, and it all pieces together very easily. Now with the case out of the way, we got our base sitting on the table flat, and we will slide this little piece into the back and pull down. It's pretty much that simple. And this has got magnets on the back of it. This is your clamp where you put your knife, and it goes in like that. And if you want to start off with your more coarse stones, you just turn this to 220. Take this little insert, slide it into that little magnetic holder, and you're all set. When you're ready to put your knife in, you turn this little thing until your knife can fit in there. You find a good stable position, and you tighten it down. Okay, now as far as that goes, man, that's how it works, just in case you need to know that. But if you're here to find out whether you should buy it or not, that's where I'm going to get into it, because I'm not going to, how you would use it, I don't know if I would exactly clamp the Spyderco in like that, but that is about the straightest of the edges. But do keep in mind that how angles work, your angle will be much steeper, it'll be much shallower at the tip and much steeper at the plunge. If you were to sharpen it like that, if that's the only way you can clamp it down. The clamp is a big downfall. When it's time to turn the knife over after you've done your sharpening, you simply push a button on the back. It pushes this little thing forward, and then you can rotate it. And to keep the same angle, in theory, that should be all you have to do. Now I'm not going to sharpen a knife because I don't have any diamonds left on my stones. I didn't realize exactly what was going on until I talked to somebody that was a little bit more experienced with these systems. So I'm just going to go over the breakdown of the long-term review that I had, just about what kind of experience I've had with it and whether I'd buy it again. First, let's go over the good. The good is that this is an affordable system. I want to say that this is the Elite. I think you can get the sharpener without the case, and maybe I don't know if it comes with a base or not. I really don't know how it would work if it didn't. I'm not sure exactly what they come with in lower packages, and I'm sorry for that. But this was I want to say it was about $125 for everything that you've seen in the video so far, except for the Spyderco. Personally, I think it was a great value. I had beginner's luck. This was my first fixed angle system, so I may have been sharpening a little hard, and for about the first 10 to 12 knives, everything was going gravy. I was able to sharpen knives. I did notice that it would progress, you know, like the first knife that I sharpened probably took me 5-10 minutes, or 5 or 6 minutes. The second, you know, like by the time I got to the last knife that I was successfully sharpened on there, I spent a good 30 minutes on it. I do feel like I learned how to hold the handle, you know, without applying as much pressure as time went on, and I become used to using the system a little better than I started off with. So like I may have been sharpening those knives faster because I was applying more pressure, right? You know, but it wasn't as efficient because the stones didn't last as long. So these stones are pretty much junk, every one of them. That's my fault. It's probably my fault. But what we're working with here is like not, that might be some very slim diamond plate. Maybe, I doubt they're resin bonded, you know, like what you would get at like with a Nanowa system or something to that extent. Toma. They're not bad stones, but they don't have a long life, regardless of how you do it. I've talked to Lacey, EDC and Lace, and she said 15-20 knives was about max she was going to get off of those. I got 10 to 12, so more than likely I was doing some stuff wrong. Even at 10 knives, if I spent $125 on this whole system, that's roughly $12 a piece to sharpen those 10 knives, right? And if you get 12 knives out of it, that's $10 a piece. So if it's, it depends on how you look at it, economically speaking. Economically speaking, knowing how much it costs to send a knife off and getting it sharpened properly, I think it's well worth it to have something like this in your arsenal. I just found out recently that they do sell these replacement stones, and like, so you can get this whole rod here. You know, like everything on this thing. I think you might not get the rod. You might just get the stone that's attached to it. These do come off easily, and they go on a little harder because you gotta line everything up just by moving that rubber ring. And anyway, so these are like $8 a piece. Like each 3 stone system is like $8 a piece, and I think you can get the strop and the ceramic rod piece as well for $8. So for $24 you can re-up, and your next 10 knives are going to be a lot cheaper. So I would say with the downfalls of this system is if you had a full-size knife like a Cold Steel 4 Max Scout that's clamped into the system currently, it makes it really easy to tip over. So in order to be able to sharpen properly, I would always hold my hand, make sure everything was braced up, and even at times keep my thumb up underneath this brace here, which they do sell aftermarket braces just like this aftermarket stone holder, to hold that into place, but you have to remove it every time you need to flip the knife. So it's I don't know, it just didn't seem very logical to me to keep the system, to buy into all that extra stuff myself. Like the stone holder is a whole different thing, and why don't we go ahead and get into that now. With this stone holder you get on Etsy, I'm not affiliated. I bought one. I left a review, left a poor review at first, and I went back and, after communicating with the individual that made it, and left a positive review. It can be adjusted from 4 inches to 6 inches. I want to say 6 inches sounds right. It could have been 8. I want to say it's 6 though. And you can put your own stones in there. Like, let me grab one. Okay, so I've got this stone here that I bought off of the suggestion of Jerry Neves. It's a 10,000 grit ruby stone, and it did come with a little plastic piece, but I found that keeping the angle true, it was a little easier if I just removed that ruby piece. So you just screw it out like this. Hindsight, I wish I would have got the 4-inch, but anyway, I'm just being hard to deal with now. And then there you go. You got this. You take one of these, and you take the seal off, and you take this piece off, and you put this on, just like this. So what will happen is when you clamp it in, the reason why my negative review is it doesn't slide as smooth on the rod, but it slides better if you loosen it up to where it's barely holding the stone. If you're comfortable with that, it does get a little smoother. And I also leave the ring off of it because it's a much larger stone. It gives me room to play with the blade, right? So anyway, or play with the surface area of the stone. So that's that. And I think that having this around is a good thing, but that would be your call if you decided to go with this system. Now it is like, so another negative to me was if you're the type of guy and you're like me and you get kind of anal about keeping nice even edges, if you're going to break out your calipers and do the math, there's a formula, and we'll have to get Courtney to break that out on the channel later. But there's a formula you can do, like measuring the grind on both sides and figuring out exactly what angle you're at on both sides. Anyway, I would say that if you're that particular about your edge and you want them exactly the same, like if you're going 17 and a half and 17 and a half and you can't deal with 17 and a quarter or 17 and 3/4. And I even had one that was 17 and 3/4 and 17 and a quarter. Like, so 17 and 3/4 on one side, 17 and a quarter on the other. For a 7 and a half average, which was going to bring you to what? 35 degrees. Is that right? 35 degrees overall. If you're really particular, that system might not be for you. Coming back to the system though, and my honest opinion is I think it's great for someone who doesn't exactly know how to sharpen a knife by hand and hasn't gotten the confidence of actually wanting to pursue that part of the hobby yet. And they want to keep their knives sharp themselves. They'll get a sense of pride off being able to sharpen their knives, and they're not ready to spend the wicked edge kind of money. And this is not a wicked edge system. I'm not saying it's wicked edge quality, but it is a fixed angle system, and it should offer similar results if you're using like similar quality stones. I mean, what you got is you got something that's holding a knife still, and you've got something with that's sharpening your blade, right? So it's capable. I've seen some very beautiful edges off of the Worksharp Precision Adjust Pro. I'm sorry, this is not the Pro. Worksharp Precision Adjust Elite. So will I buy this system again, or would I buy this system again? I think I would. I like it's a very cheap or affordable system to be able to keep around for on-the-go type sharpening. If you're not looking for a therapeutic type session and you're not prepared to spend 35-45 minutes on wet stones or actual diamond stones, depending on what your budget has in it, you can get the whole system for $1.25-ish, something like that. And yeah, man, it's a pretty good system. Like I really don't have many complaints except for the longevity of the stones, and we covered that. I mean, if you can get all 3 of these stones, or all 6 of these stones rather, a strop and a ceramic rod for 24 or 25 bucks, as long as that's available, this is a pretty good tool to have around. 24, 25 bucks don't get you a whole lot. Like this stone alone on Amazon was like $10 or $15, and it's just a finishing stone. It's nothing special. You're not, it's just a finishing stone. These are the stones that I use primarily now, and I know this is not what the video is about. I'll do a separate video on these, but these are Shapton Pro stones. They're not, I would say that they would be okay for up to S45VN and maybe up to 60 HRC. Anything over that, any more vanadium than that, and you're going to need some diamonds. Speaking of HRC, this Spyderco is an S90V, and if you watch the channel at all, you probably already know that. But Spyderco, I believe, does their HRC at 59, maybe 58. I can't remember, and that's on S90V exclusively. But S90V is like those Shapton stones over there that I showed you last. They won't tackle this because the vanadium carbides are too big. This system will tackle S90V, and so pretend it is 62 or so. Just understand if everything that you're sharpening on this system is extremely high vanadium content, which is going to battle those diamonds a little rougher than just about anything else inside steel, except for, you know, if you get into the tungsten and the hard cobalts, then, you know, like get into those super duper steels, S110, S125, Maximate, you know, stuff like that. If that's all you're sharpening on the system, you're not going to get as many knives sharpened. You know, like it will. So there's sacrifice. If all you're sharpening on it is Ontario Rats and OS 8, you probably sharpen 100 knives on here. So like, just keep that in mind. That's important to keep in mind, if you ask me. So the video's long enough, and if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them down below. Gideon Tactical, Jared Neve, they all have really great videos on this exact system. Since this system was released, Worksharp has come out with a Pro, like a Worksharp Precision Adjust Pro Elite system, I think is what it's called. The word Pro is in there, and you know, it comes with better stones, you know, better stone holders. Something, it looks like it's similar to this. I think it's about $250 on Blade HQ, and it looks like it's a much more refined system. So if your budget can handle it, you know, that might be the move for you. But I would strongly suggest that you go check out Neve's and Gideon Tactical videos on the new system and the old system, and you know, this system right here, before you make your decision. You know, like I happen to think it's a great value at the dollar point, but at the same time, I'm also like shopping around for diamond stones that cost $250 a piece. If you enjoyed the video and you're still around, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. You may notice that we have a 750 subscriber giveaway going on that should be happening very soon. Watch that video for all the rules. Thank you to our Patreon members. Thank you for our channel members. You guys really make everything happen, and we couldn't even vocalize how much we very much appreciate you. You're a huge asset to the channel, and we wouldn't know what to do without you. So without further ado, and thank you for your time, and we will catch you on the flip side.